Got late at night to see the outskirts of the city on the city walls above the LA night. Snowstorms in the distance, see the way the world curved and the bonfire glows lights from other towns. Snowfall like the Superman, anyone can predict it. I will try hand inside my jacket sleeve. Other hand, the help behind my phone in my pocket, was closed up like a shellfish in my hand.
Well, I've lived in Indiana. Okay. I've lived in Indiana for my whole life, except for... I don't know. Well, I was born in Indiana. That was it. Well, I was born in Indiana, and I've lived here for all 18 years of my life, and I'm ready for a new start. I feel a lot of things about Indiana, you know? I mean, it's my home. I've grown up here. I've got a lot of memories here, you know? It's obviously not something I can get rid of, but it's nice to think that there's other places that I could see, and there's other opportunities waiting for me. Well, I've applied to 8 schools, ranging from Portland all the way to New York City. I've applied to 2 schools in New York because my sister lives there, so I've really grown fond of it. I think most likely though I want to end up in Washington. It's somewhere that I really want to end up just because I think the West Coast is really progressive and it's the place to be right now, so I'd say that's probably my top option. I applied to IU, but that's more of a fallback, kind of like a plan F actually. He's gonna ruin it! No, you'll get seen. Mom! Mom!
He's videoing you.
Go.
He's gonna video you.
3.
He's videoing you.
Go!
He's putting you on a video.
They gotta end up on one of the coasts. I think the West Coast is probably the most progressive, but you know, there's New York City and there's always good things going on there. But I think the Midwest of the United States is pretty much dead. It's stagnant. Life here is at a standstill for the most part, especially in a conservative state like Indiana. I think maybe life could change here eventually. I don't think it'll be anytime soon though. I think a lot of things are gonna have to change, you know. It's like maybe once our generation is older and we're kind of the leading figures of the country, then maybe things will change, but not anytime soon. Not in my lifetime, I don't think.
How hard do you think it is for someone who's completely new to the United States to make the transfer over here and then completely fit in with a circle of people?
Well, I mean, I think it depends a lot on like where they end up in the United States, because like I said earlier, especially in a place like Indiana here, stuck in the Midwest, it's maybe a little bit harder to be different. And when I say different, just, I don't know, different than like a kind of straightforward conservative person like most people in Indiana seem to be. But if you're in a place like Seattle or New York, you're obviously going to find people that are like, I don't know, anywhere else in the world. So it's not that hard to fit in places like that, or at least I wouldn't imagine. But in a place like Indiana, I think it would be a lot harder to find a niche, especially for somebody coming from a foreign country. I think Columbus is actually kind of an exception to Indiana because, well, it's obviously a growing city, and because of Cummins, we have a lot of diversity. But I think in my case, at least, I think I've been pretty lucky with being able to find a group that I fit in with. And actually, when I met who I would consider my main friends are now, we were a lot different than we used to be, but kind of over time we've evolved. And I think that's the same way for a lot of groups of friends, that it's not too hard to find somewhere where you at least feel comfortable in Columbus. I try to travel as much as I can. But when I'm home, I don't know, I just hang out with my friends. I like to read a lot. We listen to music. We just kind of hang out around town wherever we can. When I'm gone, well, my dad lives in the Bahamas. He owns a pretty big farm there, and I've been riding horses for as long as I can remember. So that's one thing that I'm really passionate about, but I don't get to do it that much here. But when I'm here, I don't know, I just hang out with the people that I enjoy most, I guess.
TMZ girl, gosh, you're so lame. 10 years ago, you were cool back in high school, doing our lipsticks.
I'm Miles Haysmith. I'm a good friend of Chris Fort Myers. I'm English. It's on my certificate, all of that. I actually have dual citizenship with America. Surprisingly, though I'm English, I was born in Belgium. I do consider myself from London, England, because that's where my family's from. That's where they're all from. So if you ask me where I'm from, I'm not going to say Belgium. I'm going to say London, England. That's where my roots are. I guess Belgium was sort of a middleman. I've lived here for, I don't know, 15 years. Long time. A lot of people ask me, how do you still have your accent if you've lived here for so long? I go back at least once a year, sometime to the Isle of Man, which is where my gran lives. And we go there once a year for about a month and just hang out with my family. Sometimes my gran, other cousins, they'll come and we'll have a great time. It's a lovely place to go. I work on my car, and I have 2 motorcycles, which I work on. I play bass guitar after my dad. He sort of, I don't know, he helped me pick it up in a way. He was in a band in, I want to say, the very late 60s, and I think he left them in 1985, called the New Vaudeville Band. They were somewhat big in England. They did have a hit over here called Winchester Cathedral. He really did help me get along musically. He's very good at it. He's very sort of, the instrument's part of him, music is part of him. And then you're probably wondering, why did we move here? And my mom, she worked at Cummins, like I said, overseas, and they offered her a good job in Columbus. So we came here. It's been pretty good for us. I think I've fit in pretty well the first couple years. Not couple, it goes over couple, but I didn't fit in too well. I was a strange little kid. I wore shorts that were too short, really high socks, and button-up Hawaiian shirts. I think it depends the country you're from, because there are a lot of stereotypes that go around, you know. But in Columbus, I think they're very sort of open-minded, considering they do have a lot of, it's basically a mixing bowl with Cummins, because a lot of people come around the world for Cummins. They're a worldwide organization. Like with foreign exchange students, they fit in pretty well because of how kids from Columbus have been brought up to sort of accept that. I think I've only ever had, seriously, the Revolutionary War brought up on me by one person who honestly hated me because of that, which I thought was very strange. I sort of just shrugged it off. He actually went to my school. I actually made sure we weren't in classes together. I think Columbus is a very good town. Nice scenery, There isn't too much to do, but compared to, let's say, Seymour, you got plenty more choices. And a lot of the kids in town sort of, I don't know, they say, oh, this town's crud, there's nothing to do ever. But yet you have Greenwood and Indy surrounding you. I mean, waste a bit of gas. Sure, maybe a block of ice in the Antarctic's gonna melt, but I mean, at least you have some fun. Find and make a way to have fun, then it's fine. But if you don't and then complain about it, I think it's not your place to say that at all, because you haven't really even done anything to push it. You need to find a group of people you're good with and what they're into and just sort of join in. Like for me, I like working on cars. I found a couple. I'm not into the whole, like all of them. I'm friends with a couple people in cars, and we work on them together. With nothing too crazy around town. Music. I know a load of musicians. If someone said, "Hey, Miles, you want to do a jam session?" I'd be like, "Sure, I'm up for it." But I don't know. That's about it.
Get a picture of it falling.
Student from Norway. I'm 17 years old and I came here to Columbus in August. I'm from a kind of little town in Norway, but it's kind of the same as Columbus, but it's more stuff to do. Like it's easier to be a teenager in my hometown in Norway than here, because here you have to have a car to get everywhere, and in Norway you can walk or ride your bicycle or whatever. It's easier to get places. My family in Norway is really big. I have 4 sisters and we have a dog, and then I have my mom and dad. Here I have a really little family. It's only my host mom and my host dad, and then I have a sister from Italy. So that's my family here. So it's kind of weird to live in that little family here. I have to say that I really miss Norway, because yeah, it's hard to do stuff here because I don't have a car and it's not a lot of stuff to do either for me. I live in Jonesville, a little place in the middle of nowhere. So that's kind of hard to me because I used to live in a town before, so I have like 30 seconds to the first store, and now I have to plan every time when I have to go to the store, and we only go on Fridays, and I used to go every day in Norway. So yeah, and then yeah, I don't like to live that far away from everything. I'm kind of a city girl. I do homework and eat and yeah, watch TV series and movies. That's my life here. I do not watch a lot of movies, and because I don't really like to watch movies. I think it's funnier to do other stuff with people, but here, well, there's not a lot of people to do with. I think it was kind of hard in the beginning because no one has heard about Norway. So it's not like, oh, you're from Norway, that's cool. Okay, where's Norway, what is it, and stuff. So it was easy for my host sister because she's from Italy and everyone has heard about that. So it's like, oh, Italy, oh, you have pizza and stuff. So they can just talk about that, but Norway was like, okay, cool. So you're from Italy, cool, yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm here. So that was kind of hard, but it's better now because I don't know why, but people are more open. But yeah, basically Americans are really open persons. So. shouldn't be that hard.
Riku Nakajima, 17 years old, and came here when I was about 1, and I've been living here for 16 years, and I guess this is my story growing up in Columbus, Indiana. I'm originally from Japan, and I've lived in a place called Nishi-Aizu, Fukushima. You know, it's been pretty hard, you know, growing up as a Japanese kid. You know, I do not look even remotely similar to anybody in Columbus, you know. I'm 100% Asian, or not Asian, Japanese, so there's been the ups and downs. You know, there's been good times and bad times. The age where I've mostly been mistreated, like kids were a lot younger, you know, it's back when I was like more 11 or 10, before kids are mature, I guess you could say. So yeah, back then, you know, some kids wouldn't let me hang out with them and stuff like that. They'd see me in different ways, but you know, as I guess that process has made me a stronger person and made me learn never give up, you know, and don't let other people get me down like that for the way they think about me. Columbus is changing a lot. It's becoming a more diverse city, so I feel like the situation I was in is a little bit different than the situation a new person coming just now would be. But, you know, I tell them, don't let what other people say let you down, you know, because it's just dumb. Don't listen to other people when they're putting you down like that. And I said, of course, don't give up, you know, always gonna make it through. If you're from a country that English isn't very standardized, you know, you're gonna have to learn a whole different language. And with that language barrier, it'd be hard. And also, you know, United States is a very, you know, the culture is a lot different than any other place in the world. Since I'm immersed in Japanese culture in my house, you know, I follow all the Japanese rules, like taking your shoes off and eating like with chopsticks and stuff like that. And I feel like me knowing about a culture like a Japanese culture gives me a different perspective on the way I view different cultures. I guess you could say, like, American culture is a lot different than Japanese culture, and I get to see that from a different perspective than the person who's been living here all their life. Well, which I basically have, but I still know that Japanese culture through my family. I'm an explorer, so I like to immerse myself in new things, I guess you could say. You know, so I like these, I like social situations, interacting with humans, you know. I think that's just the best time you can have in your life. And, you know, I just like having a good time. And as for hobbies, you know, I mean, I have too many hobbies to describe. Every week I have something different, you know. But all my life I've been snowboarding and skateboarding, and that's been a big part of my life. And it's, you know, taught me a lot of life skills as well.
And the singers would choose a name, who in the glory, who in shame. There's a reason that we came. There's a reason that we came here. There's a reason that we